Hello, everyone. We're here now with Pastor Joe Carter of the New Hope Baptist Church, located here in Newark, New Jersey, one of the most inspiring institutions that we have on the faith-based circuit. The relationship of Pastor Carter has been very involved. Over 18 years he's been pastor here. And in relationship to many of the things that is really brilliant about him is that he started young in his ministry. And the relationship of his ministry has been able to build the kind of relationships that are necessary in our communities so that we can have development of positive images that can reflect upon many of the things that are necessary for our communities to become better, stronger, and healthier. Thank you very much, Pastor Carter.
Thank you.
Really appreciate
Thank you so much
for allowing us to talk with you, especially during this time. As you know, we're trying to recover from Hurricane Sandy, and many of the things that you're actually spearheading here at the church has been outstanding, especially in relationship to your outreach. Embedded in your heart, we see in your history that this isn't something that just started because of the hurricane. Why don't you share with us some of your history?
Well, we've always, as a church family, had a heart for community. I was fortunate to follow a great leader in my predecessor, Dr. C. Thomas. And I knew when I first got here in 1993 that if I would take the church further, it would definitely be in the area of community service. His work in the community with building New Hope Village apartments, and he had a skills center here teaching trades of carpentry and electricity, and electricians rather, and we had food pantry. I was able to take that model there and just expand on it and build on it because it's just a part of what New Hope is and what we do.
Looking at it in regard to the type of attraction that you do have with the caliber of members, you know, you have the Houston family and others that have grown up in this institution. How does that allow you to build the type of ministry aspect knowing that you have the popularity?
It definitely gives us a challenge to live up to our reputation. It's the Houston family, the Drinkards, they have built such a marvelous reputation for their gospel singing, and you know, almost synonymous, the Houston and New Hope synonymous. And so when you know that you are under the eye of so many, you don't want to just be all image. You want to be substance. And so I've always been challenged. You know, I hear people praise New Hope for being a great church, and I'm on the inside, and I'm privy to our weaknesses as well. That even is more of a challenge for me to shore up those weaknesses and find ways to really live up to all of these great things that people say. It's a challenge.
You know, in thinking about those challenges, obviously, you know, you had a tremendous challenge when you had to be involved with the planning of Whitney Houston and her transition.
Yeah.
In regard to that, there were a number of different things, I guess, obviously, you had to train yourself to know how to do in so many ways. How did that magnify your aspects in regard to knowing how to be able to be better at doing your outreach?
Yeah, managing worldwide events causes you to look at your organization as a machine and say, what is it that we're good at? What is it that we're weak at? And set up people in leadership in areas of their expertise to do the things that they do. And so we were able to do that with pain in our heart in the celebration of Whitney's homegoing. We were able to do that to make sure we had things together and people in place. So we approach almost everything we do in that same vein, whether it's our ministries, whether it's Sunday morning service. We look at our goal, we line up resources, and we put people in place to get things done. So when we were able to honor Whitney Elizabeth Houston's life and help Dr. Houston, Sissy Houston, and the family get through that, people asked us, you know, how did you do that? How did you get it done? And our answer was we just did what we do. And so when it came to this tragedy of this horrific natural disaster, we simply just did what we know to do.
And in that aspect of it, it has been very successful.
Yeah.
And now, the operation itself is very, I would say, really consuming. Mm-hmm. And in essence, it does take a degree of Christ first in your life, but especially when it comes to individuals who have no real understanding of Christ, and as they're coming through. And if you're just tuning in, we're here with Pastor Joe Carter of the New Hope Baptist Church. And we're discovering a number of different things in relationship to what's important in our outreach effort for the communities. The dynamics of it in terms of now this coalition that has really evolved behind it and you stepping up to the plate. The relationship in regard to now knowing the type of way in which we need to change the attitude of our outreach services. How do you feel the implementation of it is going to evolve after the storm?
Well, just to be clear, this couldn't have been done without the help of the other pastors in the community. And I can go on and on naming names of the pastors, but this is a pure collective effort. And I just praise the cooperation of the pastors, and not just the Christians. I mean, the Imam have been phenomenal. Our Muslim community, our Catholic community has been phenomenal. Our Jewish community has been phenomenal in partnering. But to your question, it really shows how far behind we are in really addressing the real problems of poverty in our community. This hurricane set back people who are already set back. And so we're not even getting them where they were. But if we today could have everybody be whole from what they lost, for so many, where they were being whole is horrible. It's sad. And so this gives us an opportunity to address a subject and a group of people who are constantly ignored. You listen to the campaign of our presidential campaign. It was all about the middle class. And of course the middle class is important and we need to help the middle class. But if the middle class is suffering, what about those under it? And this gives us an opportunity. So people ask me questions. Now, how long are you going to do this? Man, I don't know. It's every day somebody shows up hungry. Every day somebody shows up hurting before this. Now I'm waking up in the morning, and I've been sleeping at the church, so I wake up in the morning and look out the window, and I got 200 people lined up, hungry. And out of those 200 people, there are 30 babies, hungry, men and women. And you know, a lot of people think, oh, those people don't work. In that line are some of the working poor, the working impoverished, who are doing everything they can to keep their lights on. They just need somebody to give them something to eat, you know. I was here till 2 o'clock in the morning, and somebody knocked on the door, and a family walked in, and all they wanted was some water.
Really?
They just wanted some water. I said, well, I got some other stuff. They no, we just want some water. And if that doesn't tell a story, I don't know what does.
You know, it's amazing, and there are a number of living testimonies that have been occurring in relationship to what has happened, because this has been a catastrophe, especially when it comes to urban communities and reflectively what's happening in the northern hemisphere of the United States of America. One of the things that also is so important is one of the points that you spurred out, poverty itself. And in relationship of it, one of the areas that we are raising awareness about in our communications effort is to talk about the relationship of the 150-year anniversary of the Emancipation Proclamation. Yeah. In honesty, is it really an opportunity for us now to focus on the true emancipation?
I'm hoping that we could use this opportunity of the Emancipation Proclamation anniversary, New Year's Eve into January 1, as an opportunity to not only celebrate the emancipation, but to get a little controversial as well.
Really?
Because although thank God for the steps America has made for equality for African Americans, from slavery through Jim Crow to affirmative action and right to vote and all of that. But when you see such a gap between the African Americans who live in poverty and white people who make more money, there's still a gap between how much money white people make and African Americans make. It gives in the white people and Hispanics, the gap between men and women. Mm-hmm. There's still a gap there. It gives an opportunity to talk about true freedom, which was the final frontier, I believe, of Dr. King. His final frontier was to level the playing field for financial access. He fought for the right to vote. We got that. We fought for the right to eat at whatever restaurants we want to eat at. We got that. He fought for labor, black people to be hired where they couldn't be hired. We got that. He fought for black people to be able to, African Americans to be able to live in certain areas. We got that. But if you listen to that speech, that mountaintop speech, that speech was not about a mountaintop. It was about opportunities that African Americans were not having to reach an economic status, a financial status, at which has been shut down for most African Americans at that point. We've come a long way since that, but there still seems to be a ceiling that we need to break through when it comes to our people.
And raising awareness about the fact that Dr. King was not dreaming, and that it was a criteria or blueprint mm-hmm. to move towards equality in relationship to the standards that America is supposed to stand for. As a Baptist minister, do you think that becoming a Baptist minister gave you more of an opportunity to have that kind of a foundation to deliver that message? Well,
people forget, as great as Dr. King was, he was a black Baptist preacher. So I'm in some good company there. But being a pastor of a church in the African American community that is part of a community that is changing the demographics, and I'm wanting to see our church be multicultural. I want to see our church filled with every race of people, because I believe that will be, especially in urban areas, that will be the growing, thriving congregations, those that reach beyond their race, and to know that we serve a God who created everybody and who loves everybody, as we should as well. But as a black preacher in the black community, who better has a voice? Who better can cry out for the least and the last and lost? Who better can rattle the cage to say to the government and those in power, don't forget about the poor. Don't forget about the uneducated. Don't forget about the people who want to, but cannot do for themselves. So I wake up in the morning with a glorious burden. I wake up in the room with a glorious burden to not squander the authority, the power, the influence, and the resources that God has given me, simply because I am the pastor of the New Hope Baptist Church.
You know, it's really important that we recognize the fact that you are involved in the faith-based community. We have noticed, again, going back to talk about Sandy, that a number of politicians have been able to call in their friends to find ways in which we can try to alleviate a lot of the problems or to get back to a level of resilience. Mm-hmm. You're also doing the same thing. Mm-hmm. Inviting your friends, you're going to be having a concert, a benefit concert in relationship to what's going on. What do you think that approach is going to do in relationship to helping this situation?
Well, to the importance of an interview like this, to talk about this, to mention the names of people, not only that our mayor, Cory Booker, who's who has a very challenging job, and we applaud all that he's done to call attention through the country and worldwide to what's going on. But for me to say Reverend John P. Key will be here, Pastor John P. Key will be here Friday at 7:30, for me to say that means that he's coming from North Carolina with his choir, with resources to be here. Well, if I say that enough and say it loud enough, maybe somebody else outside of Newark, outside of the state, will be here, or will want to say, I need to go there also. If Pastor Key can be there, then I can be there as well. And that just means more help for the people who are hurting right now.
Raising awareness in relationship to what's happening in our communities, building strong foundations, and being committed to the relationship of following the Word of God has been truly a way in which you have magnified your lifestyle. You're certainly an inspiration to us all. Really appreciate you. Your credibility is profound. And we thank you for at least giving us an opportunity to share with our viewers just how important it is for people like you who put your heart and your soul into making sure others can be able to survive in this country in a better way. Thank you very much.
Thank you very much. Take care. God bless.